Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Munatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Radha Madhavasta Sakhi Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 22nd chapter, entitled The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, verse 18. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tham prārthayantīṁ lalanā-lalāmam. Asevita-śrī-caraṇair adṛṣṭām. Vatsāṁ manor uccapadaḥ svasāraṁ. Ko nānumanyeta budho abhiyātām. Tam prārthayantīṁ lalanā-lalāmam. Asevita-śrī-caraṇair adṛṣṭām. Vatsāṁ manor uccapadaḥ svasāraṁ. Ko nānumanyeta budho bhiyātām. Anumanyeta budho bhiyātām. Prārthayantīṁ lalanā-lalāmam. Asevita-śrī-caraṇair adṛṣṭām. Manor uccapadaḥ svasāram. Manumanyeta. Vaishnavis. Tan, her, prārthayantīṁ, seeking, lalanā-lalāmam, the ornament of women, asevita-śrī-caraṇair, by those who have not worshipped the feet of Lakṣmī, adṛṣṭām, not seen, vatsāṁ, beloved daughter, manoḥ, of Svāyambhuva Manu, uccapadaḥ, of Uttānapāda, svasāraṁ, sister, ka, what, na anumanyeta, would not welcome, budhaḥ, wise man, abhiyātām, who has come of her own accord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. What wise man would not welcome her, the very ornament of womanhood, the beloved daughter of Svāyambhuva Manu and sister of Uttānapāda? Those who have not worshipped the gracious feet of the goddess of fortune cannot even perceive her, yet she has come of her own accord to seek my hand. Purport. Kardama Muni praised the beauty and qualification of Devahuti in different ways. Devahuti was actually the ornament of all ornamented beautiful girls. A girl becomes beautiful by putting ornaments on her body, but Devahuti was more beautiful than the ornaments. She was considered the ornament of the ornamented beautiful girls. Demigods and Gandharvas were attracted by her beauty. Kardama Muni, although a great sage, was not a denizen of the heavenly planets, but it is mentioned in the previous verse that Vishvasu, who came from heaven, was also attracted by the beauty of Devahuti. Besides her personal beauty, she was the daughter of Emperor Svāyambhuva and sister of King Uttānapāda. Who could refuse the hand of such a girl? Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnanjana Shalaka Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Ghoravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtardesha Tarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Ghorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurat Vishwe Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Ghora Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patithanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So in these few recent verses, we hear Kardama Muni's glorification of Devahuti. Seeing her, he fell because he made offense. This is the point that Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur mentioned. Then you could ask, what offense? He just looked at her. But he looked at a very inappropriate way. He looked with the kama, with lust. And that was very offensive. And as the result of that offense, he fell from his vimana. So from this incident we can deduce that looking at others women lustfully is offense. Of course, in Kali Yuga, the offenses made in the mind are not counted because nobody can control the mind. But still, this happened much before the Kali Yuga, and Vishvasu was an active human, he was a Gandharva, and that's why his offense was taken seriously. Do you remember any other incident where the looking in the Bhagavatam was considered offense? I recall that incident of Jamadagni's wife, Renuka, looking at the Gandharva king sporting with apsaras, and she was actually, I think, picking flowers for puja for his husband, for her husband Jamadagni, and then she saw this scene, and she felt attracted to him a little bit in the mind. That was all. And as the result of that looking, she was late, and then when she came back, Jamadagni, by his mystic power, he could realize that this woman committed adultery in her mind. So he was very angry at her, and he ordered his sons to kill their mother. They all said no, but Parashuram, he knew the power of his father, so he knew that if he said no, everything will be finished. So he had to fulfill it, but he knew that later he can make it up and restore back her to life. So he killed her and the brothers also, as ordered by his father. And then father was so pleased with him that told him, whatever blessings you want, please ask. And he asked for the blessings, please restore them back to life and let them not remember what I did to them. And Jamadagni did exactly that. So it was very smart from Lord Parashurama's side. But let us go back to this question, a rhetoric question that is asked here. Who would not accept her? Who would not accept such a beautiful, beautiful girl as Devahuti? She cannot be seen by those who didn't worship Lakṣmī. Of course, Kardama Muni, he worshipped not only Lakṣmī Devi, he worshipped also Lord Narayan. So he worshipped Lakṣmī Narayan. And that's why, because they were pleased with him, he was allowed to see Devahuti. But he saw only not her external form, he saw also her qualities. Vishvasu, he could see only external form, and that's why he was bewildered, but he couldn't see the nature of Devahuti. So seeing only external form without knowing the character of a person is quite superficial and can be also misleading. Have you ever judged somebody just on the basis of external look? Unless we are expert in physiognomy, we cannot say what kind of person that is just by looking at them. But there is a science called physiognomy, that just by looking the facial features, a person who is expert in this science can recognize the character of a person's. The example given we have when Shukadeva Goswami, he walked in the assembly of the sages in Naimisharanya. The sages, because they were expert in physiognomy, they could recognize this was special personality. This was very exalted transcendentalist. They could recognize just by looking at his bodily features and his facial features. So here we have a case of arranged marriage. Svāyambhuva Manu, father, he's bringing his daughter to bridegroom, prospective bridegroom. So it's a case of matchmaking, done not by some matchmaking agency, but by the agency of the Supreme Lord, who is directing Svāyambhuva Manu from within his heart. So one of the principles in this matchmaking in arranged marriages is to match persons with similar qualities. So boy and a girl, they should have similar qualities. For example, if somebody is very rich, they tend to choose also a rich girl. Have you ever heard of a rich man marrying some poor girl? We have also that example in a story of the Sakshi Gopal in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the two brahmanas went the pilgrimage, and the young brahmana who was very poor, he was serving the older brahmana who was wealthy, and the senior brahmana was so happy with his service that he promised him his daughter. But when they came back, and when the older brahmana told to his wife and sons that he promised their sister to a poor brahmana, they all said, "No way, we are going to kill ourselves if you do this." They were so much against it that they caused a great trouble to the senior brahmana. But that was the reason for the Lord to come as a Sakshi Gopal and witness the promise in order to protect the dharma of his devotee. So here, how Kardama and Devahuti are equal? In which way they have similar qualities? Kardama, he has no money, no wealth. He's living in a cottage. He has no royal status. And Devahuti, she's a princess. She's living in a very opulent palace, and her father is a king, emperor of whole earth, whole Bhumandala, not this small Bharatavarsha, but whole Bhumandala. He's reigning the whole Bhumandala. So he has a great wealth, and you tend to think, well, he would also want to marry her to a son of another wealthy king, but there is no one on earth who can match him. So where is he going to find? So the wealth here is not consideration. He's looking in Kardama Muni something else. He's looking at some other opulence that Kardama Muni possesses. What's that? It's a wealth of austerity, wealth of tapasya. And as the result of this wealth of tapasya, he has a wealth of siddhis, of mystic powers. He can do whatever he wants. Anima, Lagima, Mahima, all these yogic siddhis, Kardama Muni has. And on top of that, he has a wealth of bhakti, wealth of devotional service. So Svāyambhuva Manu, he's very smart, and he knows this is a qualified person, qualified match for my own daughter. Although he's not wealthy, he has no money, but still he's qualified, and he has something that is more worthy than my wealth. So that's why it was very proper for him to approach him, and he was prompted by the Lord from the within. And what is Devakuti's opulence? Well, you can say the wealth, but actually the father is not giving any dowry. She's just dropping her off and leaving her at the cottage without any money, without any wealth, with only one set of clothes. So what does she have to offer? Well, that's answered in this world. It's, beauty. Beauty is her opulence that she's offering, and it's unmatched beauty. So what are the 6 opulences? We know the famous sloka from Vishnu Purana: Ishvarasya samagrasya virasya yashasa shriya jnana varagyaschaiva shanam bhagami tingana. So this is the definition of Bhagavan, one who possesses bhaga, or complete mastery of 6 type of opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. The person who in entirety possesses these 6 opulences, he's called Bhagavan, or the Supreme Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his Bhakti Sandarbha, goes into some nuances regarding this verse. So he slightly modifies definitions of these 6. He says that Aishwarya, although we generally explain it as wealth, it refers to, it means the power by which all beings come under one's control. So in other words, Aishwarya is a supreme sovereignty, ability to effortlessly rule and control everybody and everyone, everything and everyone. So this is Aishwarya. So not only wealth, but it's a supreme sovereignty. Virya, generally we translate it as a strength, but it's potency or power. And Srila Jiva Goswami says that it refers to the efficacy of, for example, jewels and mantras. You know, the mantras have to be potent in order to have effect. Jewels also, they use sometimes in astrology, they have also some virya, some potency. So this is potency or virya or strength. Yasha, this is common meaning, it's a fame or glory. Shri, beauty is the one interpretation, but also refers to all other types of resources. So wealth also comes under Shri. So prosperity, fortune, this is Shri, and beauty. Jnana, that's knowledge, and Vairagya is a detachment or renunciation. Means absence of attachments to objects of this world. So it's obvious here, Devahuti possesses Shri, bodily beauty, and also internal beauty, beauty of exalted qualities. And then Kardama Muni, he rightly says, who can say no to such a beauty and such exalted qualities in a girl, young girl? It is very pleasing to all wise men. To everybody who is not a fool, it's something very auspicious and welcome. So only fools or dumb persons cannot appreciate such a beauty and such qualities. Or another type of person who doesn't appreciate it is those who have no interest in material life. So appreciation of beauty of the opposite gender is what makes this world go on. In other words, it's karma. According to famous Charles Darwin, scientist or infamous, that we know about regarding the theory of evolution. According to him, this appreciation of beauty is what makes these qualities of beauty evolve and become better and better over the generations. So he has besides theory of evolution, he also came up with the theory of natural selection. Natural selection is the process where organisms better adapted to their environment tend to survive and produce more offspring. But with this natural selection, he could not explain, for example, how natural beauty of a peacock tail evolved. You know, peacock tail is very beautiful, but what does it have to do with the survival? That's why he made a statement. The sight of a feather in peacock's tail, whenever I gaze at it, makes me sick. So whenever he would see a peacock tail, he would feel bad because he would not know how to explain it. That's why he came up with another theory called sexual selection. According to this theory, some traits or characteristics evolve not because they are helpful for survival, but because the members of opposite sex, they appreciate this quality. They find, the mate beautiful, and that's why this quality, like beauty of peacock tail, evolved, according to him. But of course, Darwin, he had no idea that the beauty of a peacock's feather is due to one factor only. It decorates the head of the most beautiful personality in creation. Decorates the head of Govinda. We know from Brahma Samhita, Venum Aravinda Dalataaksham. He's playing a flute, and his eyes are like a white lotus petals. Bharavathamsam asitam Buddha sundarangam. He has a peacock decorating his head. And his beautiful body is like a beautiful rain cloud. Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham. He possesses special splendor that is more charming than millions of cupids. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So as I already mentioned, another type of a person who cannot appreciate beauty of opposite gender is a transcendentalist, who is beyond material attraction. He has no material desires, so that's why for him this material beauty of a beautiful girl means nothing. And we know there are two types of a transcendentalist, impersonalists and devotees. They both have vairagya, detachment, but renunciation of devotees is the result of their bhakti and attraction to Krishna, and that's why that detachment of a devotee is superior. Beauty is very temporary in this world, especially on this planet Earth. Probably you have seen photos of some people like movie stars when they were young, and in the prime of their youth. They were so beautiful, and then 30 or 40 years later, they put a photo next to a photo. Where is the beauty? It vanished very quickly. So the beauty in this world lasts very, very, very short. Srila Prabhupada illustrates that by giving that story of a liquid beauty. If you remember from, I think, Science of Self-Realization, there was a man of a suspectful character who came to a beautiful girl, and he wanted to enjoy with her, but the girl, she was very wise, so she wanted to teach him a lesson and told him, give me 10 days and come back. And during these 10 days she was taking some substances to purge herself, and was just vomiting and passing stool and collecting it in a pot. And then after 10 days, when the man came, he couldn't recognize the girl because she became very, very skinny and ugly looking. So he was asking, where is that girl? And she said, well, I'm that girl But where's your beauty? Go and look at the pots. So philosophically we can understand that beauty is temporary, but unless we are self-realized, this beauty of Maya will take away our mind. Even if we are steady devotee and careful, the Maya is strong and he make us bewildered. There is a story of from Sri Vaishnava tradition about Tondari Dipodi Alvar, which illustrates this. He was a very saintly and simple devotee called Vipranarayan at that time, who was taking care of the Tulsi gardens of Lord Ranganath, and he had no interest in anything material. A whole day, he was engaged in devotional service and taking care of these Tulsis. And one day it happened that a very beautiful but mundane girl called Deva Devi with her sister came by, and she noticed this Vipranarayan, and her sister challenged her, if you can deviate his mind, I'll become your slave for 6 months. And Deva Devi, she felt challenged, and she said, okay, give me 6 months and you will see that he will come under my control. So she came in a very humble state of mind and offered obeisance to Vipranarayan and asked him humbly, can she help him to take care of this Tulsi garden? And being very innocent and very naive also, he agreed, yes, you can do seva, everybody can serve Lord Ranganath. So for 6 months she was living very austerely and taking care of this Tulsi. And one day there was a big rainstorm and she was there working in the garden, and she was completely wet and shaking. And then when he saw her, he felt sorry. Vipranarayan, he felt sorry and allowed her to come to his hut to shield from the rain. And that was her opportunity. She waited for 6 months. She approached him and asked him whether she can massage his feet. And being again little naive and foolish, he agreed. And that was the end. She seduced him, and he became mad after her. But then after that was done, she fulfilled her vow, challenge, and she left. She just left back to her home. But Vipranarayan, he could not anymore think about Lord Ranganath and do any seva. He went mad after her, and she went, and he was, in front of her door calling for her, but she paid no attention. So once it happened that Lord Ranganath and Lakṣmī Devi, they were deities, Utsava-murtis, were passing on a procession, and Lakṣmī Devi, she was asking Lord Ranganath, oh my dear Lord, this was your devotee, what happened to him? Why did you allow this? And Lord told her, don't worry, I have a plan. So soon after that, a man came to Deva Devi's door with a golden cup that used to be on the altar of Lord Ranganath, was served, was used by the pujaris, and he gave her the golden cup and said, this is a present of Vipranarayan, please take it. She took it without thinking much. But her maid, she had a connection, with the king's palace, and everybody got to know that the golden cup of Lord Ranganath was missing, and the pujaris were put in jail, and everybody was talking about it. But the maid of Deva Devi, she saw the golden cup, and she informed the king. And the king sent his men, and they arrested Deva Devi and Vipranarayan. And they were both denying, we didn't steal anything, especially Vipranarayan, he didn't know anything about the golden cup. But still they didn't believe him, so he put him in jail. They fined Deva Devi. After that, Lakṣmī Devi, she was telling to Lord Narayan, oh my Lord, why you are playing with your devotee? And then Lord Ranganath explained to her, as far as this life is concerned, my devotee, Vipranarayan, he is sinless. But in previous lives, he committed some mistakes. That's why he is now suffering. But I minimize that suffering, and soon it will be over. So that night, the king of the palace, he had a dream, and a dream Lord approached him and told him, my dear king, this Vipranarayan is innocent, please release him. It was all my arrangement for this to happen. And after the Vipranarayan was released, he came back to his senses, and he gave up on his attachment to Deva Devi, and then he thought of a mean how to atone for his offenses, and that's why he started taking the water from the lotus feet, from the Vaishnava's lotus feet. That was the Vaishnava's lotus feet. That's why he was called Tundari Dipo, the Alvar. That was his means of atonement. And the rest of life he remained fixed in the service of Lord Ranganath. But this is a story to illustrate that even very advanced devotee, well, he can be distracted and deviated by external things such as beauty. That's why Chanakya Pandit says, Ramani Shatru, beautiful wife, is an enemy in one sense. Why? Because if the husband is too much attached to her, his spiritual life will not progress. Somehow, beauty in the spiritual sense is not very favorable for one's spiritual life. So thus, if one is not firmly established in his constitutional position as Krishna's internal servant in one of the 5 rasas, his mind can be easily deviated. Not only by such things like a beautiful woman or man for women, but also it can be distracted by something that is much, much more innocent and insignificant. For example, Bharat Maharaj, he was distracted from the state of bhava. By what? By small deer, by small attachment to a deer. And then he had to take 2 more birds. 2 more birds. Small things can distract us. I remember one story of one book distributor from 70s. His name was Buddhimanta. He was one of the first big Maharathas. He pleased Srila Prabhupada, distributed a lot of books. But then after Prabhupada left Buddhimanta, somehow he stopped distributing books, and he became interested in tennis. So became a tennis player. He went into career and playing tennis, basically left Krishna consciousness in order to play tennis. But after some time he got a cancer. And that was a warning for him. And then the devotees were there, and they took him to Vrindavan, and I think he left the body in Vrindavan. But somehow, the tennis was the reason that he forgot about book distribution. So our mind can be distracted by trifles, by some very inconsequential things, insignificant worries. For example, shopping choices. Now online we have so many choices, so many opportunities to shop, to do research, to buy this or that, and you can be distracted just by shopping or whatever. Or by AI. There are people who develop a romantic relationship by chatting with the ChatGPT and becomes addiction, They form intense attachments to AI, imagined companions. So it's the modern world is dangerous. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada in one purport in 5th canto, he says, quote, "Therefore, no one should think of himself as a liberated person immune to the influence of Maya. Everyone should very cautiously execute devotional service by rigidly following regulative principles. Thus, he will remain fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, a little inattention will create havoc." We have already seen an example of this in the case of Maharaj Bharat. Maharaj Bharat was undoubtedly a great devotee, but because he turned his attention slightly toward a small deer, he had to suffer 2 more birds, one as a deer and another as the Brahmana Jada Bharat. Afterward, he was liberated and went back home, back to Godhead. The Lord is always prepared to excuse his devotee, not execute, excuse his devotee. But if devotee takes advantage of the Lord's leniency and purposefully commit mistakes again and again, the Lord will certainly punish him by letting him fall down into the clutches of the illusory energy. So the point is here that Lord can excuse us. But if we are so foolish that we purposefully, intentionally commit mistake after mistake, although we know it's a mistake, but still let me do it, then the Lord will stop protecting us. And then the Maya will come and bewilder us. So all this, why these trifles, they have power to distract us. They have that power because the heart is impure, full of petty material desires and attachments. They have a power to grab our attention and to take away our mind from the things that really matter. And what matters? What matters is that hour after hour, day after day, we are closer and closer to the final exam. What is that final exam? That exam. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavan tyajantyante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of mind we remember at that moment of that state we will attain. I remember a story of a devotee many years ago who was drowning here in Ganga, but he didn't drown, so he survived to tell the story. So when they asked him what you were remembering when you were under the water and fighting for your life, he said somehow advertisement of the washing powder popped in my mind at that moment. So he was remembering, some advertisement. So this is the unpredictable nature of untrained mind. That's why you have to train it in order to be able to remember Krishna at the time of that. So let us go back to Kardama. He accepted a wife and life of material enjoyment, but his mind was not deviated from the path of bhakti, because he accepted the wife in accordance to the laws of Dharma, and also he had the idea that this is not going to last forever. And actually he made it very clear before the marriage. I will stay in family life only until our children are born. After that I'm out of here. And he did exactly that. Although the Supreme Lord was born as his son, he left to show the example how it is done. So he accepted a beautiful girl, but still he was not deviated. But there are those devotees who will not even accept devahuti under any circumstances, who would not be even interested to accept such material opulence in the form of beauty. One example of such devotee is Raghunadas Goswami. We know that on the order of Lord Chaitanya, for 1 year, he pretended to be a very good householder, and he was good businessman, doing everything, and his father and mother were very pleased. But after some time, he just had no taste for that, and he one night he just got up and left, going towards the Puri. But in the morning, when the father and mother woke up, they saw that he's not there. Immediately they sent the guards and they caught him and they brought him back. So this became almost a daily affair. Every night he would run away from home and father and mother would capture him and bring him back. And after some time, Raghunath's mother, she spoke to father. She said, our son has become mad. Just keep him by binding him with the ropes, because she thought if you bind him with the ropes, he will not be able to escape. But father, being very unhappy, he answered, he said, Raghunath, our son has opulences like Indra. He said, Indra Sama Aishwarya, the heavenly king, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Stri Apsara Sama, his wife is like Apsara. Yet, in spite of all this, he's not interested. All this could not tie his mind. So how do you think we can keep this boy home by binding him by some ordinary ropes? It is not possible, even for one's father, to nullify the reactions of one's past activities. Then he said, Chaitanya Chandrera Kripa Hona in her Chaitanya Chandra Bhatula Kera Kitte Pare. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? So Raghunath Das Goswami is an example of devotee who has natural attraction towards the Lord, and the result of that natural attraction that he is naturally renounced. He's running away from the objects of renunciation. He doesn't want them. So rules and regulations that we follow on the path of Vaidhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti are meant to awaken this our natural attraction toward Krishna. This attraction towards Krishna is a natural, it's a natural for a piece of iron to be attracted by magnet. Only when that iron is covered by a lot of rust, then this natural attraction is not there. So we need to remove this rust in order to become attracted to Krishna naturally. So this is our disease, our lack of attraction towards Krishna. And then as a result of that is distraction of the mind with so many things, small and big worries and trifles. They're just consequence of this lack of attraction for Krishna. Sometimes children they're diagnosed with ADD, famous disease, attention deficit disorder, and some doctors they prescribe medications, thinking that chemicals, medications will be able to cure attention deficit disorders. But those doctors who understand psychology a little better, they know if they engage the child properly, and child does something that it naturally likes, this ADD will be solved automatically. So similarly, to cure our spiritual disease of ADD, we need to start taking medication that will cure this lack of attraction towards Krishna. What is that medication? Srila Rupa Goswami, he describes in Upadeshamrita, he says, Shat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitro Patapapta Rasanascha Naruchikanu Kintu Adhara Anudinam Kalu Saiva Jushta Svadvikramad Bhavati Tadgada Mula Hantri. The holy name, pastimes, and qualities of Krishna are like sweet sugar candy, yet they are not palatable to the tongue that is affected by jaundice of ignorance. However, if one respectfully and diligently takes the sugar candy every day, it gradually becomes sweet and ultimately destroys the root of the disease itself. So if we continue taking the medicine, the holy name, it will work if we take it properly. Medicines, they need to be taken in a regularly, at the proper time, in proper sequence, in a proper way, in order to act. And then Srila Rupa Goswami, he also says, Tanama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasena Manasini Yojya Tishtam Vraje Tat Anuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayad Akilam Ityupadesha-saram. One should spend all one's time gradually engaging the tongue and the mind in the constant chanting of and remembering of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. This should be done while residing in Vraja or meditating on Vraja and following the footsteps of those devotees who are deeply attached to him. So this is Upadesha-sara, the essence of all instructions. So this is the process how our mind can be reclaimed, taken away from Maya and the small and big distractions, and gradually absorbing Krishna. So in that state, we won't be anymore distracted by anything material, and our natural attraction towards the Lord will be awakened. So devotees, they pray for this natural attraction to awaken. There is a prayer in, it's from Padhavali, quoted from Padma Purana, Yuvatinam yatha yuni yunam cha yuvatau yatha mano abhiramate tadvan mano me ramatan tvae. So devotee prays, Oh my Lord, just as young girls have natural attraction for young boys, and young boys have natural attraction for young girls, I'm praying at your lotus feet that my mind may become attracted unto you in the same spontaneous way. It's very, spontaneous and natural for boys and girls to get attracted to each other. So devotee, we want to be attracted to Krishna in the same spontaneous, natural way. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramana Roy, he says to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitam ati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritair na labhyate. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is intense greed to obtain it. Laulyam, this is the greed. If it's available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains this. He says, the regulative principles according to the injunctions of the Shastras are necessary insofar as one's original dormant Krishna consciousness is not spontaneously awakened. An example of spontaneous action is the flowing of rivers into the ocean. Nothing can stop this flow of water. Similarly, when one's dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened, it spontaneously flows to the lotus feet of Krishna without impediment. Whatever will be spoken henceforward by Ramana Raya based on spontaneous love will be agreeable to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So actually this Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita, this is how Srila Prabhupada came up with the term Krishna consciousness. And he says that Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita refers to spontaneous loving service of the Lord without any extraneous endeavor. So this spontaneous service is where our Krishna consciousness is supposed to lead us to. So sadhana bhakti should result in bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. So we should desire it, yearn for it, pray for it, that one day we come to that level of spontaneous devotional service. As Queen Kunti prays, Tvai me nanya vishaya matir madhu pate sakrit rati mudvahatat adha gange vahogam dhamvati. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn to you without being diverted to anything else. This is from the first canto. So once this river, Ganga river of spontaneous devotional service awakens in our heart, then we will be able actually to appreciate Krishna's beauty. Not only beauty of beautiful girls, but Krishna's beauty will be able to appreciate very much. Then, like gopis appreciate. What do they gopis say when they see Krishna? Gopyas tabakim acharam yad amusya rupam lavanya saram asamurdva mananya sidam drigibi pibanti anusava binhavam durapam ekanta dama yashasa shriya aishvarasya. So this is from the 10th canto. What austerities must the gopis have performed with their eyes? They constantly drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's form, which is the essence of loveliness. It's lavanya saram, and is unequaled and unsurpassed, asamurdvam. That form is itself perfect, ananya sidam, ever fresh, anusavi binhavam, and extremely rare, durapam. It is the exclusive abode, the kantadam of fame, beauty, and opulence. So till then, until we attain this state that we are able to constantly drink the beauty of Krishna like gopis, we have to perform austerities to follow the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, but with idea that this is a practice. It's a training for the real life of devotional service. And by the mercy of the Lord and Vaishnavas, we hope that one day we come to this level, to every day drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty. Okay, I'll stop here. There are a few more minutes left if you have any comments or questions. Ananda Tirtha Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. It's very comprehensive. I just wanted to make a comment on the liquid beauty story that you told. This was very popular in the early days of ISKCON. In fact, there's like a drama script even written on the basis of liquid beauty. So when I was a very young devotee in Australia, they performed this skit during the Sunday feast. And they cooked a bucket of apple chutney for the Sunday feast, and they used that as the pot of beauty. So the prince, he took a spoon and plopped it into the bucket. And then after the drama, they served it out. But somehow, many devotees didn't take the chutney that day.
Thank you for this example of beauty. Actually, Buddhists, they have this sort of meditations of decaying body in order to detach themselves, to be aware how actually the body is a repulsive thing. It's not something very nice, but just looks nice. But in reality, it's nothing really nice there. It's a blood, skin, bones, pus, stool. It's disgusting, actually. Yes, Prabhu.
Truly, as you mentioned, that a small attraction can also deviate us from Krishna consciousness. So, when a sadhaka will be so much conscious of not being deviated in the future, so will it not be also a deviation from being in Krishna consciousness? Because he will be always aware that I may not be deviated, I may not be deviated. And being more Krishna conscious, he is aware of being not being deviated. So is it also not being a hindrance in his path of practicing Krishna consciousness? That he will be always aware, maybe I get deviated, maybe I get deviated. And he is not focusing on his core activities.
Yeah, it should not become some negative paranoid meditation, because by meditating, I should not become deviated, he will become deviated, he will attract what he meditates about. But still, he should be careful, attentive, and he can see what small things are distracting him. Like these gadgets, nowadays we have, so many gadgets, and always, message pops up here and there, this gadget, that gadget, so many things, and how much we remember Krishna in between, it's difficult. So one has to make a plan. During japa at least, I will not touch my gadgets, I will not look at the phone and answer the message. Some rules and regulations, some discipline has to be there in order to not be deviated. If we are too lax, then definitely will be deviated. If we are very strict, it might be very harsh and we cannot endure very long. So we have to find some balance, how not to be deviated. So discipline is definitely needed on a part of regulated devotional service. That's why it's called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Rules and regulations are there. But how much rules and regulations and what kind of rules and regulations, these are details that everybody has to figure out with the help of their spiritual mentors and counselors. Okay, anything else? Yes, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, this very interesting word spoken by Kardama Muni, like in the previous verse, he said, he's talking about, I have heard that Vishwa, Vasu and all those things he's speaking. First of all, he has taken darshan of the Lord. He got darshan. That is a very big position. But when we hear such things, we come to think that like he is in life of austerity. How is he able to hear all this? It seems like he is hearing gossip or something. How is he able to hear about these news that this Gandharva fell down? And then the doubt starts coming that what is the position of Kardama Muni? Is he actually in such a high stage, or how do we understand this?
Well, maybe he had the internet and a phone, and it was on a Facebook, or just by his CDs. He got to know, or just by his mystic vision, he could have seen some scenes. Krishna might have given him a vision what happened in the past, or I don't know, maybe some Gandharvas came and informed him, or who knows, we can just speculate. But I'm quite sure that he was not into gossip, that he didn't have a time for gossip. Prabhu in the back had a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your class. Just had a question about, I guess, maybe the balance, because this class was very much about how distractions can, and you gave so many examples of great Vaishnavas or people that were renounced and saints that got distracted with something very small. And so someone may take away this and think, well, a beautiful woman, or be that my wife or children, may be distractions. And we have, in Srimad Bhagavatam it explains that the kids are like jackals and the wife is like a tigress. And so, but at the same time, a husband is supposed to be, or whatever, if it's a parent, a husband, or a brahmachari to the general populace, we're responsible, we have a service to do, and that service can't be fulfilled with a callous mood. And that callous mood, with having a compassionate mood or having an actual relationship with those people, how do you balance that? So, because if you consider them a distraction, I guess my mind is that if I think of a distraction, what do I do if there's a distraction? I try to avoid the distraction, I try to go around it, but I guess my understanding over the years has been that it's not by avoiding relationships or those things, it's about actually purifying yourself through those relationships. So
yes, this has to be understood properly. It is very neophytish understanding, that my child and children and wife, they are distractions. Actually, distractions are your own. They are not distractions. They are devotees, they are living beings, and somehow you have a duty to take care of them. But how to, at the same time, be Krishna conscious, this is the science that we want to learn. And going to this Grihastha ashram, definitely it's not easy, but it has its own purpose. I have a friend, he was recently here in Mayapur, and he said he has 2 small kids, and he has to work. He has full-time job and 2 small kids. And he said early in the morning, before they wake up, I have to wake up before them and finish my rounds. If I don't do that, my day will be terrible. So he knows that he has a duty towards them. He has to give them time and attention, and at the same time he has to maintain them in work. So he's not neglecting that, but at the same time he's making a plan how actually to be Krishna conscious during this day. And he's also saying that my desire, to fully dedicate myself to Krishna consciousness is growing day after day, month after month, year after year. And I'm quite sure once the kids are grown up and all these duties are sorted out, that I'll be so desirous to fully engage in just hearing and chanting that I see how this is beneficial for me. Because he doesn't have enough time for these things. So desire keeps growing and growing and growing. So he's getting purified actually through this Grihastha ashram. So this is how the proper understanding should be there in order to balance it.
thank you.
Okay, do we have anything else? Mataji? No? Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam.